Yo, this is crazy. Hilarious, man. I can't even tell you guys how funny this stuff is. There were people at, right at the onset of the series doing their predictions, talking about the series right before it got started. And I mean, just incredible. There were people saying things like Lakers in 6, Lakers in 7, Lakers in 5, I heard. Lakers beating the Thunder was just crazy as hell to me. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I just couldn't. I don't even know where to start with this live stream. The thing about it is there were people entertaining the stupidest things, saying the stupidest things, and I'm gonna give folks the opportunity to tap in with us and speak their mind and discuss the series. It's been 3 games, and it's been the same outcome every time, and it's basically been the same process every time. These games are not close. They're close for a while, and then real life happens. It's one of those situations. I don't know if you guys do boxing, MMA, fights, whatever. Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Here's the game plan. We got it all figured out. And then the game happens and nothing plays out the way the expectation was. And that's what happened in the series. You had know-it-alls. You had fake-ass smart people. What up, Big Sean? You could tap in at any point, sir. Link is in the chat. The know-it-alls, the maestros, the basketball philosophers, they all had ideas. They all had thoughts. They all had predictions. They had it all figured out. Here's how the Lakers were going to beat the Thunder. Folks, there was no version of this series that involved the Lakers winning the series. It was not going to happen. I didn't even see a way for the Lakers to take a game. And you had people saying Lakers in 6. Quote unquote media professionals saying Lakers in 6. Here we are, game 3 in the books, and the Lakers embarrassed on their home floor, worse than the first 2 games. What does that tell you about the mindset mentality of the fight against the Thunder. They literally resorted to complaining about the refs. They had player referee conferences in the middle of the basketball court complaining about whistles and calls. Do you know how desperate that is? Do you know how clownish that is? Powwows with the refs? That is embarrassing. And I didn't even make a video on those things. All I did was make the breakdown videos of the failure of the Lakers defense and the decision of doing the things that they did. And Sean, I'm going to get you in here in a second, sir. Just to finish this real quick before I bring on Sean. There was talk about LeBron thrusting himself into being the GOAT if he beat the Thunder. There was talk about JJ being a good coach. There was talk about AR-15. Actually, really, he's probably the only guy who upgraded his resume in the last 2 games. LeBron has nothing to prove. He's at the tail end of his career. There's nothing to add to the resume. When I think about JJ Redick, he had a lot to prove, but he appears to have accomplished very little in terms of growth and improvement. Because getting a series win against the self-implosive Houston Rockets didn't prove anything. The Houston Rockets were the easiest matchup in the Western Conference. KD destroyed that team. He destroyed the culture. He destroyed the locker room. He self-sabotaged that team. That was the easiest matchup for the Lakers. And proof of that is they go up against an actual team, and it's a slaughter. It's the slaughter of the lambs. The Lakers compete for the first half. They compete into the third quarter. And then real life happens, and the Thunder decide, you know what? That's enough. The kids are going to bed now. The adults are in the room. And they just busted them up. And all the things, Mr. Socrates of basketball, JJ, he's got nothing. LeBron being the GOAT because he'll beat the Thunder in the series. Nothing. What was going to get drawn up? What was the swarm defense, some fake ass 3-2 zone that doesn't work? What was happening? What? It's crazy to me that people were actually entertaining any of that. Living in delusion, actually thinking there was going to be competition in the series. There are no-name players on the OKC Thunder that look like they could start on any team as they're sitting here beating up on the Lakers. Jake LaRavia played his way out of the series. I don't even think he saw the floor tonight. I don't know if he was injured or he just coach's decision. You know, JJ's reaching for things in game 3. Forgetting about what he should have been developing all year, knowing he was going to have to turn to his bench at some point because all of his players are injury prone. LeBron's 41. Luka is 26 going on 46. And AR-15, you know, we saw what happened with his injury. These guys are injury prone players. They're high usage, old, injury prone, whatever. You have to develop your roster, and he did it, and now he has to turn to him, and he's got nothing. Shout out to the Goon. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for coming through. I'm not here to wax poetic about how overmatched the Lakers were and how poorly they played. This has nothing to do with the Lakers. I've actually been rooting for the Lakers through all of this. They're a fun team to root for. But the truth is that the fake Laker fans who are actually LeBron sack suckers, they're the ones getting exposed right now because they're out. They already checked out of the series, right? There's nothing left. We're going to talk about the technical aspects of this game, game 3. We're going to talk about the technical aspects of the series, but I wanted to start there. I think that's important. The media narratives, the bullshit rhetoric, the hyperbole, it was all just for clicks and for buzz. I don't expect the Lakers to be able to win game 4. I don't even expect them to truly compete for more than 1 or 2 quarters. I don't think they're gonna be able to do that because I don't think their coach is actually wired and built that way. And I think that rubs off on players. But anyways, Sean, jump in, man. Talk to me, bro.
Man, what's up, Sneed? How's your night, man?
What up, brother? Excellent, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming by. My Cavaliers got to win tonight. Unfortunately, while I was rooting for the Lakers to win a game at least against the Thunder, it doesn't look like I'll be getting my wish.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of them guys that early the season, I just like, hey, I already know the Lakers don't really have a chance. Blase, blase, blah. And then when Braun was not there early season, I only just see Luca and AR. That's when I actually was enjoying watching my Lakers. And then middle of the season, uh, you know, AR got injured. You just see Luca and LeBron, and I mean, has been somewhat of a mixed bag. When AR came back, it's somewhat of a mixed bag until March, and then now we at the climax, or no, we in the resolution of this season for the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, it was expected, but it was somewhat. I look at it as like somewhat of an overachievement, even though we expected to lose. We
Sean,
didn't.
I'm not gonna let you get away with that, bro.
Oh, come on, bro. We come
I
on.
I I I mean, you have the freedom of speech on my channel. You've been one of the real
Okay.
ones from the beginning, but I'm not gonna let you just get away with saying something like they overachieved because that's not true.
Okay, so you believe that they underachieve?
I'm gonna frame it first, and then you could tell me what you think I mean.
Okay.
Last year, the Lakers finished second in the West. Last year, they told me that JJ Redick was a better coach than Darvin Ham.
Yeah,
Last
I
year,
get
they
you.
told me they needed to address the center position. Last year, they told me that they needed to address the perimeter defense. They addressed all of those needs. And then, so they address the big position. They bring in DeAndre and get him on a steal of a deal. He ends up averaging the same things he was doing in his first handful of seasons in the NBA. Does the same type of productivity. So you got exactly what you signed up for. Marcus Smart comes in and is a huge catalyst in the back half of the year, helping carry the defense and actually carrying the Lakers through an incredible run in March, catapulting the Lakers to third in the West. And JJ Redick gaining more experience, learning from his mistakes last playoffs. All this was supposed to be better. We're not going to let it slide, Sean. We're not going to let
Okay.
it slide
Okay. I
that they
understand where you're
overachieved.
coming at. I
Right.
understand where you're coming. Let me
Right.
reframe. Maybe reframe it from saying overachievement. Um, and maybe just doing this description. The Lakers did not have a. The Lakers did not really develop a system to have those type of pieces to flow correctly as we thought. I mean, we thought that JJ will learn from his mistakes. I thought he will improve his coaching. And while we've seen flashes, we also see inconsistencies. And I'm talking about the worst type of inconsistencies that I never thought that a guy that a guy who just read the source and constantly thinking that he's so smart, that he will make more mistakes than any other coach, even on the high school level. Um, Listen, you know what I mean? Like now, this ain't nothing new when it comes of the Lakers lacking a system. This ain't nothing new. It has been like this for about 7 years. And even if you want to extend it, it happened even post post Phil Jackson, even post Phil Jackson. So the Lakers have been playing different types of systems And even though around that time when Kobe was there, they was like following what we had to do, what I mean, in order to able to win games and all this. The system wasn't good enough for us to even like to touch Neath to that championship. Um, and what I mean, when it comes to right now, it's the same thing, except it is not by the Lakers design by the front office. Well, no, I actually say it's part of it, but it's also with LeBron controlling the show. He's the one who brought the coach. Not only just him, he also brought Darvin Ham. He's the one who, dictates on who is practicing and how we have to run a certain system. And it fails nearly pretty much every single year, outside of maybe AD. What I mean? That and on the pandemic. What I mean, for the Mickey Mouse title, but that's because AD was fresh. You know, he was able to dominate on both ends of the floor, and we played less games, which we was somewhat lucky. But I cannot just say I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm happy about this team. I obviously am not, but if we would have actually, you know, play or even practice like a regular team and not having no bullshit politics and all this narratives and all these mind games, maybe would have actually done better. Maybe we could actually play more competitive. Maybe we actually play better defense. You know,
You know what I
it's
want to
just
do?
like,
You know what we should do, Sean? We should first talk about the Thunder because I think what the Thunder show is a blueprint to success. And I
oh
think
yeah,
that's
that's
something
something
that
that most Laker fans will never want to do. I'm just gonna tell you the truth, Steve. Sneed, most Laker fans are obsessed with trying to get superstars, not creating their own.
there's nothing wrong with how you build, acquire, or get a superstar. But however it happens is fine. But what I want to highlight here is that you have a team that organically was constructed and then also paying their guys because they're keeping them, right? They're retaining them. They didn't want to see that go to, like, contract years. They re-signed guys, gave them extensions. But also want people to understand what the Thunder did was systematic. It wasn't by luck. It wasn't how the media portrays, all these players on the Thunder as these floppers and all this. It's all bullshit. The refs were terrible in the series, but not for one side. They were terrible on both sides. The thing
And
is that certain
I
teams,
got, I kind of gonna have to say, get some pushback on that.
and that's
Even
fine, and that's
under the
fine.
two
But I
defensive
saw a lot
coaches.
of holding. I saw a lot of pushing by both Lakers and Thunder. You
Yeah,
might
you saw
probably
what
make the argument that more bad calls went against the Lakers, but I'm going to tell you, I saw tons of Lakers getting beat off the dribble and them just pushing and holding, and just occasionally sometimes they were getting called for it. But in terms of the refs, they were awful on both sides. I'm not going to
Yeah,
sit here and
that's
tell you that the Lakers lost the series because of refs. That would be a lie. Let me
yeah,
show you how we
that's
know.
another major weakness that the Lakers has. We
Hold on,
and
Sean,
this
real
is with
quick. Hold on,
Oh,
before we
sorry.
even do this. I just said we were going to go through the Thunder, and
Okay.
I'm going to explain how the Thunder won the series and how the refs have nothing to do with it. This is a box score from all of the players tonight in which the Lakers basically lost by 20 or 30 points. The lead was ballooning up to like 28, and then the starters got taken out. Lou Dort has had absolutely zero offensive input in the series. Today, he finally got double digits, scored 10 points. Chet Holmgren is 0 for 4 from 3, no impact on the perimeter, does all of his damage from the inside. That's something that the Lakers can control. What are you doing when the ball goes up in the air for a shot? Where's the Where's the bodies? Where's the box outs? Where's the identifying, the marking? Nothing. Isaiah
That's their
Hartenstein
major
was
weakness.
terrorizing the Lakers on the glass, back-breaking offensive rebounds, giving the Thunder second, third, and even fourth shot opportunities. Ajay Mitchell has been just pummeling the Lakers for the last 2 games. SGA shot 7 of 20. He didn't play good this series. It was a mid-series for him. There was nothing MVP about his play in the series.
Yep.
Kaysen Wallace was pretty good. Isaiah Joe was pretty good in the series so far. Jared McCain was a star player in the last game. Didn't do much in this game. Didn't play much. Alex Caruso, a terrorist on the defensive side. All these guys playing defense, giving the Lakers hell. That has nothing to do with the referees. If I go to the team stats, this is the box score for all of the entire team. They shot 56% from the field.
Yep.
They were decent from 3, 44%. The Lakers actually shot better from 3. The Lakers went to the free throw line 25 times. The Thunder went 10 times.
Yeah, that's their major weakness.
The
That's their major
Thunder
weakness.
dominated the glass. That's effort, that's grit, and that's coaching.
Yep.
The Lakers, the key for the Lakers to have a chance in the series was to possess the ball, so rebounding, extra possessions off turnovers. They've been the ones turning over the ball. Look at what the Thunder did. Sean, I swear to you, I knew this from the beginning of the game. The Lakers turned the ball over 16 times.
Yep.
The Thunder scored on all but one possession from those turnovers. One. They scored on everything. They turned all those turnovers into points on the other side on fast break, in transition. They killed the Lakers in the paint. They destroyed them tonight in effort, in hustle, in grit. This is crazy to me that people are going to tell me that the Lakers have an unfair hand, dealt a bad hand because of the refs. They're getting beat up, they're getting pushed around, and they're complaining because they don't like it. They're getting punched in the mouth and it doesn't feel good. And that is because of their coach and that culture. Who was complaining after the last game about the refs? We saw LeBron and AR-15 having a huddle with the refs on the court. And who was complaining at the presser? JJ Redick, their leader, complaining about the refs. They had no impact on any of these 18 point, 20 plus point losses. We're not doing that tonight. Not tonight, Sean. It won't happen here.
No, 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 no. I'm not disagreeing. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna even add more things into it. Our major weakness when it comes to the Lakers, even as far as like the squad's over for 7 seasons with LeBron over here, it's pretty simple. We rely too much on the referees and thinking that they'll balance out during in the regular season and the playoffs. And that is a terrible mentality to have, especially when you're playing against championship level basketball. Like you need to dominate without even relying on the referees. I mean, shoot, there's times where you're not going to get around 25 free throw attempts. You're probably going to get maybe like 15 or even 10, heck, even like 8 free throw attempts. But as long that you actually able to score and you do the game right, that's all that matters. And that's really sad. And that mentality came from LeBron, in my personal opinion, not from JJ, because JJ he just a microphone. He's just a microphone in human form. He's just following what he has to do. Keep the relationship. Keep the contracts. With him and Clutch. From happening, but he's just nothing more about a moderator. Most of the time when it comes to these referees complaining, it's always been happening like that way. Heck, even when Reeves wasn't even there, even when we have AD, we still was complaining about the referees. Even though we have as far as free throws, We have a very great disparity when it comes to the free throw line. We just overly rely on it, and and that costs us.
What's the,
Another thing, our post defense. Aiden, I get that he's very talented. A lot of people say he's one of the most talented big guys ever. But just because you're versatile, don't mean nothing
I
when it
mean,
comes.
Sean, he's a decent player. DeAndre Ayton's not a bad player. He's a decent player. I
He,
don't think we need to,
nah,
overinflate
he
what he
needs to
could
get
do.
smoked. He needs to get smoked. He's scared of going against other bigs when the moment counts. He's scared to go even do the rebounds when the moment counts. He wants to play more like a guard than trying to be a big. And I don't really like that. And
Yeah, but nobody who's got big expectations for him though. Like I don't, you don't.
I
I think
don't,
we I think we know who he is and what he is, you know
but
what I
it's
mean?
common sense. It's common sense. When you're a big guy, you always gonna be around the post and you going to defend your man who's another center or even a stretch four or a power forward
Sean, he's
who's
making
tall.
$6 million this year. LeBron's making $52 million.
That's also another issue. That's also the other issue. LeBron should sacrifice that 52 mil in order to get better players. Since he constantly complained about how he doesn't get no help, he could have actually sacrificed.
Look, LeBron scored 19 points on 19 attempts tonight. He was shooting, just didn't effectively shoot the ball. I didn't
He
I
should
didn't
not.
see any problems with his
He was
effort most
missing
of the time. I
crucial
mean, he's
shots.
obviously flat-footed at this point of his career. He's not very fast. So my expectations for him defensively are just for him to do his best every possession. I thought Rui played a good game. I think Rui's having a fantastic series. Rui's been great. AR-15, not a great night. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well. He probably should have shot more shots than 13 attempts, but he didn't shoot it great. He was 1 of 5 from 3. Was decent from the free throw line. I thought he was doing a nice job of dishing the ball. A little bit of some turnovers. 5 is a little too high. I think even for a guy who handles the ball that much, he probably should be shooting for about 3 a game. So 5's a little high. Marcus Smart gave you, as much as he could. I thought Luke Kennard
Marcus
was
Smart
pretty
went
good. He
ice
had a
guy.
nice game. He knocked down some threes. But from a system standpoint, and you look at the personnel, obviously you don't have Luka. That changes the whole dynamic. To beat the OKC Thunder, you have to do the other things too. You're going to have to keep them off the glass. You're going to have to mark up everybody. They finally, I think JJ realized the first 2 games that whatever defense he was doing, fake ass swarm defense, it's a 3-2 zone. The Thunder made him pay. They ended up winning both games by 18 points. This game, they were actually close and fighting, right? So if you look at these point totals per quarter, the Lakers were down 6 after 1, right? They were winning at halftime. They had a fantastic second quarter. And then the Thunder just put the pedal to the metal defensively in the third, and it
Yeah,
just it was relentless in the fourth. It didn't change. So
I had to put context onto this. So when we were ahead, JJ made a big mistake of taking Theo out. The rookie out of the game earlier. He should have actually kept him high minutes because he was actually playing really good defense. I say, what I mean, he was one of the best defenders in this team. He should have kept him there in high minutes with Marcus, and we could have actually, we could have actually, able to maintain that lead for some time. But he instantly changed that protocol and go back to the same regular schedule. Even though you was ahead, you waited until when you're under 10, under 12, even 14, just in order to bring Theo back, and the momentum is not the same anymore. That's a dangerous issue, regardless of any basketball team. That's a dangerous issue. If someone is effective, you constantly use that until otherwise there's nothing else left to do. You know what I mean? If that plan don't broke, don't fix it. Just leave it how the way it is. He ruined that off in mid game when we were ahead.
I saw Hartenstein giving Braun the business at the rim. I saw Chet Holmgren running up and down the baseline, getting easy buckets, dunks.
Yeah.
I saw every player from the Thunder getting open looks from three, decent looks, pretty clean. I saw the Thunder doing whatever they want. I saw the Thunder being comfortable. You know, the first couple of quarters, there was some resistance. I was liking what I was seeing from the Lakers, but then they all fell apart. The whole thing came crashing down in the second half, bro. So
JJ let go of Theo. He let go of Theo. He did not even want to switch the old man out too. These type of things, those type of small details, when you're knowing you're in a playoff series, and you know that people are watching, especially even the front office, to know if they still want to keep you or not, is dangerous. It's dangerous.
let's do this, Sean, real quick. Let me get the goon in here because I know he's tapping in. Maybe he can give us his perspective on the game. What'd you see, Goon? Tell me about this game and then the series.
Well, first of all, bro, like I hate the Thunder. I hate how they play basketball.
Wait, hold on a second, bro. Hold on a second. Hold on. Real quick. Let me get some clarity on this. Okay, you hate the Thunder.
I hate the Lakers. I hate both teams.
Okay, but why do you hate the Thunder?
What team you're fans?
He's a Cavs fan. I know he's a Cavs fan. He's a homer. He's like me, bro. But we know what's real. Like he's not delusional. He knows. But anyways, Goon, why do you hate the Thunder, bro?
Bro, I absolutely hate how they play basketball.
Why?
Just game 3, or it might have been game 2. Just watching like just how they were playing and them trying to get these calls. That's how they played the entire season, and they weren't getting them, and it was just shown then. They play some of the dirtiest basketball too. It's not tough defense. It's Lou Dort diving at your knees and whatever. I'm done with that. I hate that, and I hate that they're not officiated the same way everybody else is, because it's honestly just
okay.
BS.
All right. Hold on, real quick. There's two sides to this game, right? There's defense, there's offense. Okay, fine.
And the defense, and they're not held to the same defensive standard though.
I understand
as everyone else is.
But let's entertain what you're saying defensively. How does that help them knock down shots?
They're still a good team, but what I'm saying with not even just defensively, even the offensive fouls too. It's if they don't get the shot they want, they'll
offensive fouls by who?
By Shea specifically.
Okay, Shea wasn't even MVP Shea in the series. He was I'm just
talking in general. I'm talking in general. I'm not talking this series.
Well, I'm going to talk this series because this is the one at hand. So what you're saying is you don't like the Thunder. You don't like the way they play defense. You think it's a little dirty, and you're basically saying it's influencing the outcomes of the game. Okay, but then on the offensive side of the ball, you then cite
offensive side of the ball,
SGA, but SGA didn't really impact the series all that much.
No, he didn't.
It was guys like a Jay Mitchell. It was guys like Cason Wallace. It was guys like Chet Holmgren. It was guys like Isaiah Hartenstein. He's shape-shifting the game with possession because of the rebounds.
I agree with you, Sneed. I agree with you. The Lakers are just completely outmatched in almost every single position by the Thunder. And there was no way going into this series that people thought they could win this with LeBron James as their first option. There was absolutely
there were media members the day before the series started that said Lakers in 6. I'm not making that up, dog.
Bro,
I swear to you, I'm not making it up, bro. Hold on. Dude, how long you know me, bro? How long you know me?
I've known you a long ass time.
And how well do you know me?
I know you pretty well.
Would I lie about something like that?
No, you're not lying. And I think I can probably name who said that. Like, it's just, I think the Lakers were lucky to get off that win against the Rockets, and unfortunately they play the Thunder here. I don't think the Lakers were ever supposed to make it past the second round. If they were
never going to really have a chance to beat anyone,
even with Luka Doncic,
unless it was the Rockets.
Yeah.
No. With Luca, I mean, against certain teams, they could win those series. I think because of matchups. I mean, Luca, you were talking about like calls and referees. Luca's gonna get a lot of those whistles,
Oh, I
bro.
agree with you. I agree with you, and I think it's just biased because the Thunder are really fucking good, and I'm pissed off because my team doesn't get those calls, and I wish they would. But I mean, I don't know. I just don't like the way defense they play. I don't like all the bitching at the refs. And I don't like that from the Lakers either, specifically Luka Doncic. Like that's another thing too of why I don't like the Lakers.
I think we have to start looking at this from the perspective of the Lakers season is done. They're probably not going to win Game 4. I'm not even going to entertain a Game 4 win. I don't think it's in the realm of possibilities that they win Game 4. I mean, if I mean, I get it. They're NBA players. I'm giving them a 1% chance at winning Game 4. 1%. Because this game was in reach at the start of the second half and just quickly got away from the Lakers. The lead ballooned to 10 plus points. And then it was 20 plus points. It almost hit 30 points in like 7 minutes. All this happened.
Yeah,
And it's not even with SGA. They're just doing it moving the ball around. It's anybody. It's any guy on the roster any given night. Somebody's giving you 15 points. And you know what? We have to start talking about the future of these Lakers guys. We need to discuss what's left here of this roster. Who's coming back next year? Who's a part of the future? Who isn't? Who are they going to sign? Who are they going to re-sign? They just gave some of these guys money. They just gave JJ Redick 2 years. He's getting coached off the floor. He ain't helping he ain't doing his team no favors. Look at Game 1 and Game 2. Go watch my film studies. That silly-ass defense was getting cooked. The Lakers were scoring points and then giving up everything on the other end. Today, they played straight up on SGA, played man defense, moved their feet, and they were in that game, and they had the lead at halftime. They just self-imploded in the second half.
Yeah, JJ changed that plan and going back to the initial plan that he wanted to do instead of sticking with it. It's sad. It's sad.
I mean,
Um,
so everybody made Austin Reeves the scapegoat after Game 1. He has a monster Game 2. What are they going to do now? Say he sucks again? They're going to blame him. They're going to blame Luka. They're going to say, "Oh, Luka's not available. He didn't play." They're going to who is there to blame? You got all these people that came out and said LeBron's going to be the GOAT if he beats the Thunder in Game 1. These people were saying this, Goon. I ain't making this up, bro. People said LeBron would be the GOAT if he upset the Thunder. And I thought these people are insane. They're sitting there entertaining a statement that is like the most delusional thing you could possibly imagine.
Yep.
LeBron beating the Thunder? As if to say the rest of the Lakers don't play on his team. Like he's out there by himself. LeBron's going to beat the Thunder. Just listen to the stupidity. And you wonder why I'm always snapping on all these clowns out here. And why I'm always crashing out on all these people. Disrespecting teammates. Disrespecting teams. Can you explain to me, Goon, why LeBron needs 5 screens on the same play to get open? Can you do that? I don't remember Austin Reeves getting 5 screens on one play in Game 1 or 2. Why didn't they give him that treatment? Who does that? You ever seen a play where a player gets 5 screens? 4 screens or 3 screens? That's just crazy to me. Sean, am I off on this? They said
No,
LeBron was going to beat the Thunder, and that makes him the GOAT. They can't even compete. They're down 3-0.
I mean, that's vintage Bronx sexuality. That constantly has been plaguing the league since 2011.
So if the Lakers beat the Thunder once, twice, 3 times, if they won the series, it would help LeBron's legacy. But here they are getting swept, and there's no culpability. These people ain't coming back saying it's on him. They're going to say he's 41. Before it's, oh, he's 41. Look how amazing. Well, he looks 41 to me. They're not winning games.
Hey, I've been saying this when he was like 36, 37. Like, we should have cut this dude off a long time ago. And unfortunately, Jeannie Buss had allowed him to stay too long. And it cost us. It cost us a lot.
But Sean, I'm not mad at LeBron. LeBron, they got a contract. You know, he's going to play as long as he can. He wants to get paid as long as he can. I'm not going to knock the hustle, bro.
No, I
don't have a problem with LeBron. Now, you as a Lakers fan, it's valid because I understand the roster and the payroll and all that. So I get your perspective. But what I'm saying is this. I don't have a problem with Bron and Bron playing or whatever. I have a problem with people lying and hiding behind fake predictions, fake truths, and then just not being accountable for the things that they said and predicted when now it's time to pay the reaper. Nobody's going to come here and admit and say they're wrong. You have people saying Lakers in 6. They ain't coming back here. You have people saying LeBron was going to upset the Thunder. They ain't coming back here.
This is the social media era. I mean, everyone say a lot of stuff and then they act amnesia afterwards.
You have people like telling me that JJ Redick has grown and improved and he's got this team cooking. And I said, well, wait and see, because they got swept last year in the first round by a team that ran them off the floor. And here we are. What's happening to them again? They're getting run off the floor. Did you see the transition defense today? Alex Caruso just literally sprinted through 4 Lakers. And SGA just gave him a simple chest pass. Instant offense. What? The fake 3-2 defense for games 1 and 2. Giving the Thunder exactly what they wanted, which was open threes. They telling me that he got better and he's good and he's brilliant. What? Out of his own words, JJ Redick said, I'm here to get the best out of all these players. Who has he made better?
I mean, it was an obvious lie. I also look at it as like, I think there's Laker fans who does not want to portray themselves as haters for critiquing the obvious of the situation. Unlike me, I don't really give a damn. I'll tell it how it is. You know, I'll be extremely honest about my team. Telling the absolute truth. You know, if that costs me as a hater, screw it. You know, I'm a hater. But at the same time, though, there's people out there who want to say, like, hey, as long as you're winning, we could look over your deficiencies and we could continue to go in this hype along because, you know, wins make us feel better and whatsoever. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? JJ Redick, for his tenure as a Laker, has been utterly garbage. Or not garbage. Well, no, garbage. I have to say it's garbage. Even though we went to the playoffs currently twice, we still lost in bad proportions. At least when it comes to Darvin Ham, we went to the conference finals. I'll say that. We went to the conference finals. We at least have some type of chance against Denver when they were the apex of the West. It's just that, like, hey, you know, Darvin Ham at the
ironically, the thing about that Denver series, I remember that series very vividly. I remember the Lakers being in those 4 games in that sweep.
Yeah.
I remember the games coming down to the final possession. In fact, I want to say, if not 2 games, maybe 3 games, where the Lakers had a chance to get go-ahead buckets on the last shot. And I vividly remember LeBron choking in those moments.
Yeah, he choked real bad.
I remember those games. And I'm not trying to make this about LeBron. from
No,
the standpoint that he's the reason for those Lakers loss. I'm saying that people, if he does well, say they're winning because of him, but if he's mid or plays poorly, they just fall back and say, well, he's old. So when he's playing well, it's incredible how old he is. And when he's not able to help them win, well, he's old. So my bigger issue is the disingenuous nature of the narratives that people are saying about these games and these series. There's no threat, man. The Lakers aren't posing a threat to the Thunder. They never did. There was never a point in this series, games 1, 2, or 3, where the Thunder seemed worried about anything.
no, they were comfortable. They were comfortable. Even when we was ahead, they know that that JJ Redick is going to screw that program up by just switching up the strategies and going back to the same way that they played initially. They waited and then they said, "Hey, time to turn up." And here we go. We're up by 10, we're up by 20, and et cetera, et cetera. Uh, and the sad part is that, well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, when I hear people who loves LeBron James hype him up, even if he's like 41, going to 42, or whatever type of age he's gonna go upwards, they try to make LeBron to be this same fret pillar like a Michael Jordan or like a Kobe when it comes like, hey, he's beyond earth. When, in reality, he's just in earth. He's just a part of the atmosphere. Or maybe he's just a cloud. That's all it is. He's just a cloud. He's not a nerd planet. He's just like a cloud that everyone see going up.
You know what I thought was interesting tonight, Sean, that I noticed is, and this was true of, well, okay, so games 1 and 2, LeBron played off the ball mostly, right? Like they were looking to get him the ball in motion and movement. They didn't have him dribbling the ball up the floor. They didn't really have him playing point guard traditionally, right? They went with Marcus Smart and Austin Reeves really for those two roles. But the second half of this game 3, so not the first half, but the second half, I saw LeBron playing some point guard.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what that tells me? He's trying to get some assists.
Stat
padding.
That's
Shamelessly.
usually what he
I mean, they're
does.
down by 15 points, 20 points. And he was still in the game at that point.
That's
But
also
he wanted some assists, right? Let's fill up the stat sheet. He ended up getting a few. He ended up with 8 assists. So now what are they going to say? 19 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Look at the well-rounded game he had. They lost 131 to 108. These are the things that turn people off about that whole situation. In my opinion, and this is just me, this series does nothing for LeBron, his career, his legacy. It's meaningless. This season does nothing for his career. Last season did nothing for his career. There's nothing he's doing that's going to change his legacy to me, and I think sports fans like me. We remember his peak. We remember the Cavs runs. We remember his gameplay in Miami. His from 2010 to about 2020. We think about that decade as, the most impactful version of LeBron. When he was an elite NBA player, you could argue one of maybe the top player, top 2, top 3, whatever in any one of those seasons, right? Because in my opinion, Bean was still at the top of his game in 2010. In my opinion, Steph was, very impactful for a large duration of that 2010 decade and even into the 2020s. Kawhi was fantastic in his prime. There were a couple other guys too. Giannis had a nice little run for a while. And, Joker's been doing really incredible things for the last 6 years, and those kind of things. But man, I'm just like, I mean, when I watch these games, Sean, it's with the sound off. I'm just watching the games. I'm not influenced by what people are telling me. I'm watching the games, and here's what I see from the Lakers. I see a nice Rui Hachimura. I think his game is nice. Tonight I didn't think he was great defensively, but the first two games I thought he played pretty well defensively, and his consistency shooting the ball on the perimeter has been excellent. I don't think DeAndre Ayton played a great game, but I also don't think they go through him. So my expectations for him are quite low. Austin Reeves had a good game too, had a weak game one, and today he was, I guess, below average game. Marcus Smart, I think, is good in his role. I think Luke Kennard's been great. He's very reliable. They ask him to do things and he delivers. This team has talent. It's not the talent that the Thunder have because the Thunder have defensive talent, right?
Yeah,
But
the
this
Thunder
team has
that.
talent, and I still, to this day, stand by this. I just don't think the coach is there to optimize it. I don't.
I 100% agree. JJ was never the
Now,
right
where's
coach for
Angry?
the Lakers.
Is Angry going to come by and tell me I'm right? Is he going to admit it? Because Rui is shining. Because Kennard is shining. Because we've also seen, like a nice game from Austin Reeves, a decent couple of quarters from him tonight. We're seeing some nice play from some of these guys. Angry didn't agree with me. He disagreed with me when I said that the Lakers had talent. And then the Lakers had their run in March. And then they beat the Rockets. And then they're doing all these things. Well, I mean, I think there's some places to give credit, but I think there's a lot of blame to be passed around here from the guys who should have expectations, like JJ, like LeBron, like AR-15. And yes, I do think Luka should be held a little accountable for this. Why is he not available? Because I don't think he takes himself seriously when it comes to conditioning.
I mean, I
There's
agree with that.
blame
I
to be
agree with that when it comes to Luka.
there's blame to be passed around, Sean. There is.
I mean, yes, there should be some blame when it comes of AR. As far as his playoff performances. Now he came back with he rushed, from his oblique injury, which I'm proud to hear that, but it wasn't as effective as I thought it was. And he could just wait until after the season's over and then just go on and do better next season. But he just came back and he was just giving you wherever he can. Yes, I wish he was a better defender. Which is something that I always acknowledge that he never was like a two-way player. But the most responsibility I have when it comes to this team is LeBron and JJ. I always blame those two because they bring that culture. I mean, LeBron bring the culture, and JJ was bragging about how great of a basketball mind he is when he just talking whatever on the microphone in the podcast. And when realities start kicking in, he was never that guy as a coach. He was never that guy. Genie was just doing that just in order to say, "Hey, I want LeBron to be happy. I don't want any issues. Just get JJ." And that was a terrible decision. But on the same time, though, no great coach will ever want to coach the Lakers, especially with LeBron being here. They're not. You know, I wish Sam Cassell could be my coach, be the coach for the Lakers, but you will not be comfortable with LeBron being over there because you know the NBA and even the basketball world has their ears open when it comes to what type of thing that LeBron does with coaches. He liked to use them as scapegoats, same way like he did with Darvin Ham. I mean, so yeah, I blame mostly those two. A little bit more LeBron because he put all this shit in for the Lakers. Um, Reeves, yeah, I mean, I put some blame to him. I wish he played better, even though he came out of the oblique. Luka, as far as his conditioning, I agree with that. But as far as like him being the control, controlling how the way the team is, I can't agree. Let make it eat a little bit easier. Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're gonna have to make some decisions in the offseason, bro. Okay, so Luka's your future. We're all on the same page there. Nobody's gonna argue that or push back.
There's gonna be some Laker fans that are gonna say, "Hey, man, we could get someone better."
I think a large majority understand what time it is with Luka. Okay, Austin Reeves is a point of contention. He's going to command a high salary. They're going to have to pay him to keep him. Some are speculating he may take a small hometown discount. He might be able to generate a larger bag, maybe on a different team, a lesser team, a team starving for a star player of some sort. Right? So that's going to be a point of contention. How do you keep him? How much do you pay him? What's he worth? He's not great in the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. JJ Redick, I don't think
he's gone.
I just don't understand what people see. I think those people are lying. I think they're LeBron sack suckers. So because LeBron brings him on, they just want to pretend like he can coach.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's not crashing out on the pressers anymore. He's not crashing out with his teammate, with his players. Although he did this season had some serious issues. I remember vividly the pressers at the end of December when they were losing games and defending poorly. He took it to the media to talk shit about his own guys.
Yep.
And I think he learned from it. I think he's probably got a couple of mentors that told him you really can't do that shit. And he took it to heart and he adjusted. He seems to really try to keep his cool now in the playoffs because he knows that the perception is that he is very tightly wound. He's always on the brink of snapping. He's always crashing out, and he's going to try to dispel that. But, your actions speak louder than your words. The source or not. Now, LeBron next season, because I'm telling you, this series is over. LeBron next season, sir, Sean, he wants to be a Laker.
No.
He is auditioning to be a Laker next year. He is showing Laker brass, I can still do this shit.
No, it's over with. It's over with.
I know that's what you're saying, and I understand your position. But LeBron, trust me, he wants to stay a Laker, and he wants to retire a Laker. He wants to do it on his own terms. He's showing that he still brings value to the team. He's gonna say, look at my averages. I had the best numbers in the playoffs for you last year. I can still do this. I can carry. I could do this. Even though we know the truth, that's what he's gonna say is look at those numbers. Because look at what Joker does. Because look at what Luka does. It's the same blueprint. Look at what I do. It's not about results. It's about the numbers, right?
I understand the correlation. But this is where I think that forget about all the numbers, forget about me and you knowing about the truth. Let's look at this one fact here. If LeBron James really wants to be a Laker, someone that we want respect all of the city of Los Angeles, he could sacrifice that $52 million in order to get better players. If he would have done that, people would actually respect him much more. A lot more. Even I can't even hate. I'd be like, dang, LeBron, you sacrificed that $52 million just in order to get some good defenders, guys who are like a part of the first or second team all NBA defense. Man, that's great, LeBron. Oh, LeBron, you actually sacrificed that $52 million just in order to get a better center? Man, I gotta applaud with that. I had to applaud. He never done that. He just said, "Yeah, 52 mil. Now make my team feel better now." And that's when most Laker fans are done. That's simple. That's the simple truth, Steve. That's when they all done for him. They like, hey man, I don't want him in my team. Yeah, he got great numbers. Yeah, he is a legendary player. Yeah, he's gonna break more records, but we're done for it. We done on him. We're done with the rhetoric. We're done with the hype. We done with him and his son. We don't even care his other son is gonna come as a Laker. We just don't care about him. When you show loyalty to a team like the Lakers, you have to prove it through his actions. And LeBron, throughout his whole tenure, never done that. Not even once. Not even once. The Lakers put more loyalty to him than he ever were to us. You get what I mean?
I do.
It's like a one-sided relationship where hey, I could give you this amount of money, or actually forget about money. I could give you this amount of resources. Like, hey, LeBron, you want to make a garden? Here you go. Here's this garden I got, and here's some land that you could use to plant more trees, more more fruits, more vegetables, in order to get you a greater stock. And you know what he give us back? Two middle fingers, and one of those middle fingers was coming from his ear. That is that type of mentality that I never want no one. I don't care, even if he's temporary as a Laker.
When the Lakers traded Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, they clearly made a decision that the next decade is going to be dedicated to Luka. And they probably thought, well, Luka and the Dallas Mavericks got to the NBA Finals. They won a game. If we can recreate that version of that Dallas team, build around Luka, maybe build better, we can make a run to the finals. We got this superstar, this international superstar. He's in his mid-20s, all this upside, all this bright future. It was a slam dunk for them, right? Anthony Davis was injury prone. Anthony Davis was problematic from an availability standpoint. Like all those things are real.
Yeah, I agree with your
But what
points.
the Lakers miscalculations have come in the form of the LeBron situation with his contract and his player option and his salary. The Lakers miscalculations not being able to re-sign or extend Austin Reeves. Now they're going to have to obviously pay him a premium. Trying to figure out probably who is worthy of keeping on the roster. I think Marcus Smart was a good acquisition. I actually think DeAndre Ayton was a good acquisition. I
No,
do.
he's not. I
I
gotta
do.
disagree with you, Sneed.
I do. I think he was a good acquisition based on the rate he's being paid. I think he's a good value.
Yeah, we got him for cheap, which is a good thing.
But
As
that's
far
my
as his
point is the
impact,
expectation comes with money.
I
The
mean,
the
come on.
expectation comes with certain players' panache. Like Luka, LeBron, AR, we have expectations. Right? DeAndre Ayton was literally cut on a buyout. He's here for $6 million. His bill or whatever, how you want to look at him, is the receipt, the charge. $6 million is a mid-level exception. That's nothing. And what's your options? You gonna draft a guy? You gonna bring in a guy in free agency? You gonna make a trade? What assets? What
The
assets?
the Lakers made a big mistake of sacrificing their assets for that old man right there. That's just how it is. Aiden, I if you're talking about like in the regular season, earlier, especially early in the season, you know what I mean. I would say that yeah, it will be it will be a good thing. But unfortunately, when it comes to DeAndre Ayton, you know what I mean, the problems, his flaws, still stand out to me. He's scared of defending against other bigs when the moment counts, when games count. Something that He's similar to how the way he faced against when it comes to the finals. He blacked out. He doesn't want to face against those bigs. He doesn't want to be in the post getting those rebounds. He just want to be more like, hey, I'm versatile. I'm a versatile guy. Let me be a stretch forward and whatsoever. When that's not what we needed. But I mean, since we got him for cheap, maybe he is a good acquisition. As far as like Austin Reeves, I predict that Austin Reeves is going to take a pay cut. I personally believe he's going to take a pay cut. I think he'd rather stick with being a Laker than anywhere else, in my personal opinion. I don't think, he wants to, go to a different team. And while he actually does have more money, that team probably will not able to win no championship or even have playoff success. And he probably have to wait until, maybe in his early 30s, even mid 30s, to even say like they're gonna have playoff success. It's gonna be like I don't know. Hopefully, if it's not, hopefully it's not like a Bradley Beal situation where you come over there, yeah, you got your numbers, and then you got your contract, but you're not gonna be winning nothing. So I personally think he's gonna stay here, took a pay cut, unlike Bron over there, who just say, "Hey, give me that $52 million." Luka, yeah, Luka is the future, but in my opinion, unless of course the Lakers find some way in order for them to get the right pieces in a rapid rate, that future can be dwindling. Like we wanted to go to the route where we could develop our own stars and even develop guys who are like centers and bigs in order for us to give us great support in a number of years. But unfortunately, there's times where you're not always gonna have that. So it's gonna be pretty much depends. But I'm not gonna predict about the off season. I'm just gonna leave the off season how it is. Hopefully they keep Austin Reeves. If not, it is what it is. But if I see Austin Reeves getting a good situation, I just don't want to hear Laker fans to be complaining.
Let's go ahead and do our evaluations then. The season's over. Can we agree?
I 100% agree.
Okay, so let's evaluate the Lakers season. Not any one player. Let's evaluate the team. We've talked through a lot of things. Remember, you kind of started with they overachieved. I kind of pushed back and said I think they underachieved. How do you evaluate the season?
From A to F, I'm gonna give it. Since we were about to be in the third seed, but because Luka is gone and even and eventually Austin Reeves is gone, we went to the fourth seed. I might give it like a B minus. Is that fair?
No. I think you're being nice.
Oh, okay.
I think you're being I think you're trying to be objective. I think you're trying to be fair. And I think you swung a little bit too far to the right. To make sure that you weren't too far to the left.
I'm being more sympathetic.
I think you are.
I
think you are. And I think part of the reason subconsciously my position on this, which is why I think you're swinging a little bit further that way. But I'm leaning a D minus. And the reason I don't want to put an F to it is just because of some of the injuries. And I think at certain points during the season, there were some things that flashed that were really solid. But it didn't translate into the playoffs against the Thunder. Here's a real opponent. They're not the Rockets. When I watched the series between the Rockets and the Lakers, I literally said it. They're taking advantage of the team that self-imploded in the second half of the season
Yeah.
and was destroyed and sabotaged by their own best player.
Yeah. KD.
So them winning that series, they should have swept the Rockets, but they didn't. And the Rockets got back into the series. Would they win in 6?
Yeah, we won at 6.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy that it took them 6 games to put out the Rockets. Dysfunctional, problems, the coach, the roster, KD with the burner accounts destroying his team morale. Like, you name it, right? Just awful. Took him 6 games to put that team away. And KD only played one or 2 games.
Yeah, he did.
They didn't even have any shooters,
Yeah.
right? So to me, that series was meaningless. When I saw that the Lakers were shooting 52% from the field, oh yeah, there was going to be a fall off. There was going to be a regression to the mean. That was going to happen, bro. And it did. It did. They came back to earth, right? All of a sudden, their defense doesn't look like it's clamps. All of a sudden, their offense, which I had concerns, they're winning games without scoring 100 points. In a league where you got teams dropping 120 a night, easy. Do you see what I'm saying, Sean? I have reservations. So to me, I can't swing that high and say, I'm going to give them a B or a C. No, they got to get a bad grade. They didn't fail at all points of the season, but they failed enough for me to say no. They're getting a barely passing score only because they finished third, right? Was it third or fourth?
It was fourth.
They finished fourth in a tough Western Conference. They weathered the storm on injuries and found a way to compete for stretches of the season and at key points. But they still didn't cross the street, bro. Here they are getting run off the floor by the Thunder.
I hear you on that. You know what I mean? I personally think a D- is a bit too low. You know what I mean? I could be.
If you're gonna move me, I'm gonna need a good reason, and I'm definitely not gonna go beyond a D plus. Because they told me, Sean, they told me that it was JJ Redick, the basketball philosopher. They told me that at 41, Bron still carries. They told me that Luka is him. They told me this, that, and the third. They told me.
If we ignore the BS3 narratives that's coming out of bronsexuals and even like troll fans' mouths, if we just look at what it is, I personally believe that this season, even though initially I expect them to lose because him, Luka, and LeBron will not work, I was kind of wrong, but I was also kind of right, because at times when they do great, they do solid. But I'm more impressed with this unexpected duo between Luka and Austin. You know what I mean? As far as like an offensive backcourt, I personally was immediately a great fan of the concept of them being a duo while LeBron wasn't being there, or even at least to be in the bench. And when they actually play that type of basketball with the fast pace, it's kind of similar like the way of the modern NBA. You know what I mean? I personally feel like LeBron slowed this team down. You know what I mean? I think that for what, despite the flaws, I did not hate the season as much because I actually like the idea of that duo. Also, when we don't really have LeBron over there, we actually do focus and we actually were winning games. I know it's early in the season, but my highlight of the season that I absolutely love was early in the season. I like in the earlier season better than March, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Yeah, we played defense against Denver, and we actually beat the Knicks and blow them out. But I actually preferred that idea because I always wanted to see a team without LeBron James. But maybe I might. For me, I might even downscore. I will downscape my score from a B minus to a C like not C minus, not C plus, a C.
Fair. And maybe I'm a little hard on him, man. I'll go D plus.
D plus, C, not bad, not bad.
Looks like we talked each other a little bit closer to somewhere in between.
Yeah, somewhere in between.
The I think AR-15 season is going to be viewed as below expectation. I think people wanted to see him.
That was also something where I call it somewhat of a negative too. Not by Austin Reeves entirely, but like he was having his hype was out of the roof. You know what I mean? At one point he was averaging like a double. You know what I mean? Like 20 something points and 11 assists. And then, when Rich Paul came out, and then when LeBron came back, the hype died down. The hype died down. It's almost like, wow, the hype that when it comes to Austin Reeves this season, he should have been an all-star.
Luka's season's a failure.
A failure?
Yeah, he wasn't available in the playoffs. His season is a failure. I know everybody had him in the MVP talks and when they were ripping off all those wins in March. What did he do in the playoffs? What did he accomplish? He's unavailable. This is a failure season for Luka and the Lakers. From that perspective, it's a failure season.
On the playoffs perspective, yeah, it was a failure. But if I look
wasn't
at
available. JJ Redick this season is a failure.
I agree with that.
We got the crash outs in the media. We got the blow ups and the crash outs with his star players, with his role players. The Thunder doing whatever they want, dismantling all of his plans. He thought he was slick trying to get cute. He got out coached again, outplayed. SGA clearly capable of destroying JJ Redick's best defensive plan.
I mean, okay, I'll give one positive thing. They actually did try their best against SGA. I give them one positive.
Well, they tried to take SGA out of the game, and then these other guys started destroying them.
Yeah, and that's the big negative. They did not keep the same energy when it comes.
Because what they didn't realize, his miscalculation, was SGA is not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can't play through a double team. SGA can. Clearly. Finding the right passes, cutting through the defense, getting to the rim. Oh, he gave him problems, bro. Gave him problems. And it wasn't excessive. It wasn't like the SGA was doing his MVP impressions or whatever. He was just doing the best, taking care of the basketball and making the best plays and the best decisions. For LeBron, it's another meaningless season. Absolutely meaningless.
It was
no impact.
It was a failed season.
I mean, you'll say it's failed. To me, it's just nothing. I truly believe that there's nothing he can do to change. The classic NBA fan, the classic NBA historian. There's nothing he can do anymore that's going to change the outlook. His peak is well beyond him. He's way out of his prime. He's no longer as impactful as he was on both sides of the ball. He has these cool little moments on offense. His defense is
absolute garbage.
It doesn't have the vigor. He doesn't have the venom. He doesn't have the power on that side of the ball. Like, he makes a couple like nice defensive plays or whatever, like just being there and being disruptive. And I think that just has to do with kind of, basketball IQ, positioning, his size, helps him in those ways, which is good. But it's hard to sustain. It's hard to keep guys in front of him. You know how much holding he was doing on the perimeter in the series when guys would beat him by a step or two? He would just hold them, and they didn't call it, but
Yeah,
that's what he was doing because he's slower. We're just talking reality here. It's not about anything else. It's just reality, but this if you I didn't have expectations for Bron, but if you did, then this season would be viewed as a complete failure. Since I
no,
don't
I
really have
did. No,
expectations for him, I'm just like, whatever.
yeah, I did not have I did not have any expectations for LeBron. You know, what I mean, I just know that LeBron's going to disappoint me every single time, like always, and that's the only thing. As far as like Luca, yes, I did have expectations. Austin Reeves, yeah, I do have expectations because a lot of people want him to be used. There are Laker fans that want him to use as a trade piece in order to get something better. Even though we might even have an idea of how he could gel with Luca if if LeBron wasn't there. And I thought, what I mean, from the way of the concept, I thought that concept is amazing.
Sean,
Um,
where's AR-15 playing basketball next year?
to be honest with you, I personally believe that championship contender is going, or yeah, championship contender, or even a playoff level team is going to get him if we let him go.
So you got him leaving the Lakers?
No, I want him to stay as a Laker.
Yeah, but
I
do you
want.
think he will stay as a Laker, or do you think he's more likely to be on another team?
I personally believe he'll stay as a Laker.
I think so too.
You
I
know what
think
I
that's the
mean?
more likely. I do. I think AR-15 is most likely to stay in LA as a Laker.
I don't look at him now. I don't even know him personally, but from the way I look at him as far as his personality, camera, and also how the way he moves and how the story and especially his background story, he does not look upon as the greedy type. He doesn't look like someone that, hey man, money matters
Wasn't he a second
more than
round
me
pick?
winning a championship. Money matters more than me just like being a winnable player. He wants to be a part of a culture that not only he's a fan of because he grew up as a Laker fan, but also someone who actually wants to bring impact to a team so they can able to secure going to the finals and even win their championship. That's just the way it is. Now there are Laker fans, I mean, you already know him, be like Lad. I mean, he was like saying like, hey man, we need Trey Austin Reeves for this guy, that guy, and he's the type that want every single candy in the candy shop. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? That's the type of that's Laker fans for you. Man. For not for me. You know what I mean? Even though I love, even though at times I do love having an all star. I actually acknowledge in today's NBA that all stars and superstars does not dictate of winning a championship. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, let's expand on that. So we know how important coaching is, right? You got to have
Yeah,
the
coaching
talent, you
is
got to have the
extremely
roster
important.
construction. Let's talk about the coaching piece. Does JJ Redick begin next season as the Lakers coach?
No, no.
So the question that I was going to follow up with was, does he finish the season as the Lakers coach? That would also be a no.
Me personally, I think he's after this game, the game 4 or game 5 or even game 6, he's going to be this that after that those games, he's done as a Laker coach. I think that his contract is going to get terminated, or I think unless of course Mark Walters give him another chance, which I don't, which personally I don't
He
believe
doesn't
so.
owe him anything.
He
He
doesn't
didn't bring
owe him
him.
nothing. So,
Yeah, he didn't bring
what I
him
mean?
to
He
LA.
probably will not give him another chance. He just say, "Hey, kick rocks. You're done. I saw your performance while I'm watching the Dodgers, and you stink. So get out of here." But JJ is JJ makes a lot of mistakes. He should not have been like a head coach. He should have been a guy who might be like a special, coordinator, or I'm not even gonna say advisor, just someone who's like, or even like an assistant coach. And even then, I don't even think he will be a good assistant coach either. He's too, he's too
And do you
boxy to
think
be an assistant
do you
coach.
think he lands another job on some other coaching staff if he was to be removed from his Lakers head coach position?
No, no. I the reason why I said that is pretty simple. Um, they observe how the way that he got that job. He got the job because he was kissing LeBron James' ass throughout the whole podcast. I don't think that any sensible basketball team is going to pick someone who constantly kiss up a player that you are supposed to have the hierarchy on. You're you are higher on the pyramid than him. And the fact that you lower down yourself to be lower than the player, that makes you look weak.
All right, Sean. So how about this one? Does LeBron start the next NBA season as a Laker? Does he finish the next NBA season as a Laker? Does he retire as a Laker?
If LeBron stays as a Laker, I probably won't even be watching basketball, at least in the NBA anymore. I'm just being honest here. I'll be 100% done. Like this time, I'm done. Initially, I was trying to do it this year, or this season, but I didn't because AR and Luca, that duel was looking kind of interesting, and it was entertaining. But for him to stay as a Laker, unless of course LeBron James is coachable and not allowing him to dictate whatever type of thing a coach has to do, especially with giving him protocols and telling him that we're gonna do this, not that, and also actually following, and also to be honest, even when it comes to putting him as a bench, I personally believe LeBron James should have been a bench player 3-4 seasons ago. Like him being a first option for that long, especially at old advanced age, is stupid as heck for the Lakers. Should have been a bench player. AD should be running things. Yes, he was injury prone, but when at the time he was the guy who was dominating every single statistical line of that Lakers finals and playoffs, except for assists, which is LeBron's specialty. But we didn't. We can't. We the front office and Genie was following his orders. So unless of course he actually take a veteran minimum and he actually follow orders and be a bench player, I do not want him in my team.
So do you I know what you want. You don't want him on the Lakers roster. So
Nope.
you're basically projecting that he won't be a Laker, so where does he go? He doesn't want to retire. He clearly wants to continue to play.
He could play in the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? They got aspirations. You know what I mean? Situated, so he could play as a Clipper. He could also play in Sacramento. He could also play in
Sacramento.
he could also
That's
play in the Golden
crazy.
State Warriors.
Okay, so like that one, I know a lot of people kind of like the concept of that because they just re-signed Steve Kerr to a 2-year extension. You got Steph, he's still there. He could still play a little bit. He still has moments, although I think his durability is now in question in his advanced age. I don't know what the Draymond situation is contractually or what the other supporting cast would be, but people would be excited about LeBron and Golden State. I just to go from the Lakers to Golden State, that's a little unusual. Um, the Clippers, that like obviously that keeps him in LA, but that's not the Lakers, right? So I don't think
Too
that really
bad.
fits.
Too bad.
Um,
At least they got a good stadium. You know, you
yeah,
got a
the
modern
Kings, I
stadium.
think you were just basically it's geography. You're just basically staying in Cali, right? So
Yeah, if he
um,
wants to stay in California, those three teams he could stay in. He could still, in the Clippers, he's still by his house. He just gonna be traveling to Inglewood instead of going to going to the Los Angeles train train facility. If he wants to go to Golden State, you could. I mean, having a plane ticket from LA to San Francisco for his network is like paying for a bus ride. He could even buy like a penthouse over there, so he can able to do wherever. I personally don't even care where he actually is going, as long as he's not a Laker. You know what I mean? He never represents the spirit of Los Angeles. He doesn't. Shoot, I'll even tell you the truth. You know what I mean? Outside basketball, like when it comes to basketball, even outside basketball, Shohei Ohtani has more praise as a legend in the city than LeBron freaking James. Yeah, yeah, and that was and then the Dodgers were winning over 2 years straight, about to be getting a three-peat. Yeah, he got more love than LeBron. So now, what else can he actually do? He does not get love according from the masses. He doesn't get love over here. So honestly, he can't go somewhere else. He could stay in Cali, just go to the Clippers, go to Golden State, go to the Sacramento Kings. Or, I mean, you could do is like this. Since he wants to be a part of this thing where he's a part of this new generation where they're gonna be doing the expansion teams, he could temporarily play with Golden State and then go to Las Vegas and retire over there. Regardless, I just don't want him to be as a Laker. Them days are done. 100.
Got a lot of people speculating he goes home, quote unquote, home to Cleveland. Cleveland's not his home, right? Cleveland is the team that drafted him. Cleveland is, 40 miles away from Akron, which is where LeBron is from.
And I know that you're a Ohio native, which you have more knowledge between what is the difference between Akron and Cleveland. But anyone outside of outside of your territory, we just look at Akron and Cleveland as the same thing. Like, hey, Akron, Cleveland, same thing. I know it's kind of ignorant, but I mean, that's just the way it is. It's
I mean,
like,
it's the Ohio thing, right?
I mean, they did the same thing over here. They don't know the difference between South LA to Inglewood, or the difference between Long Beach to to Santa Monica. People will say that's the same thing, so it's whatever. But as far as him being a Laker, no, he's done. I don't want to be there. If he is there, I'm muting myself from basketball. I can still watch the WNBA. You know what I mean? I can still look at college basketball as long as the USC is playing. But if they're not part of the March Madness, then I don't really care about it much. Maybe outside like the Buckeyes, but even that, like, whatever.
So Sean, we'll end the live stream on this one last note.
Okay,
I
no
think
problem.
Game 4 is Monday night.
Yeah,
Lakers
Monday.
Thunder, right?
Yep.
Got a prediction? Who do you think
I
will
have
win
no
that game?
prediction. I have no prediction. None. I'm no more predictions. No more of me thinking like, "Hey, man, it's like anything possible." I'm pretty much mute. I'm pretty much mute, indifferent, and I'm just like ready just to see other things.
All right, man. I was gonna say I'm gonna project a win for the Thunder. I think SGA is gonna kill the Lakers. I think he's gonna finally have that game. Chet will be good. It's gonna be a good showing for the Thunder, and I think it's gonna be tough sledding for the Lakers. I think that they are going to break at some point in the third quarter. Yeah, I think the Thunder will be benching the starters and bringing the guys off the pine to play basically the full fourth quarter. I don't think SJ is going to play after the third quarter. I think he's going to have like 32 points in 3 quarters. And then that's it. And JJ will be answering tough questions at the end of this season, at the pressers, where he'll try to spin it off like they did good things. And I'm here to remind everybody that shit don't matter. The LA Lakers want rings. What you do in the regular season, what you do against the frickin' self-imploding Rockets in round 1, none of that shit matters. He's going to try to spin it off like, they accomplished something great. They accomplished nothing. And if anything, it was a failure of a season. That's what I'm saying.
I've been through this hell of the so-called LeBron era of the Lakers for 7-8 years. It's part of the territory. I feel like even with this Mickey Mouse ring that people want me to appreciate, I still wasn't really that impressed. I was happy that Los Angeles had a moment during the pandemic because we won in basketball, we won in baseball. I think I don't know, we won during I don't think hockey we won, but regardless though, it was kind of like a special moment where we like to the sports actually won. But in totality, I feel like that I would rather to have Lonzo Ball and the rest of those rookies, and we could just develop them like that way instead of just waiting for LeBron and get superstars and get old players after old player and then after mid player after mid player. But regardless though, stuff happens, and yeah, I'm in this situation right now. The Lakers are in this situation right now. And wherever they decide right now, hopefully is a great one, because if not, I'm pretty much shutting off from basketball, or at least the NBA, for a long time.
And we'll see what happens next year, but yeah, I think it's pretty much a wrap. Maybe we'll do kind of like a season finale live stream on Monday night, just to kind of do an exit to the Lakers season. Hell, man, I might even just live stream the presser, where they ask LeBron, AR, Luca, JJ, DeAndre, and maybe they ask them some questions, and some good stuff gets asked, and maybe we get some solid sound bites, and then we'll get the kind of the Laker faithful perspective. We'll try to get angry on here. Maybe you could send them the link, let's try to get Lad over here. Let's try to get Big Baby. He's always crashing out about shit, maybe we all can just tell the truth.
Majority of them are crashing out. I'll be crashing out when it comes to LeBron if he constantly ruining our chances of winning. That's all it is. But yeah, that'll be a dope live stream, hearing the final interviews of the Lakers.
Because we'll watch the game, and like I said, I think I know the outcome. It's going to be a loss for the Lakers, but to just hear it from them, have them admit that the season was a failure, I think would be validating. And I think it actually would be refreshing and good for them if they told the truth. If JJ told the truth. If Bron told the truth. I don't think Bron's going to tell people what he's going to do next year, blah, blah, blah. He's going to play coy and all that,
You really believe LeBron's going to tell the truth, man? Come on, man.
I don't.
Do tell more lies than shoot.
Me personally, Sean, you know where I stand, bro. I think LeBron sets himself up for a lot of this stuff. I think the people who got venom for LeBron, I think some of that is actually created by LeBron, right? Some of the things he says and does. I think some of that whole media control shit with Clutch, I think some of that's part of the reason, right? So, like, I get it. I don't think I have any venom for Bron at this point of his career. I don't even know if I ever really did. I mean, I view
haven't seen-
LeBron from a simple scope of him as a basketball player, and I can see his strength and his weaknesses, and there's good to be celebrated, and there's things to call out because it's just not good, but I feel like I can objectively do that. I don't feel like I need to hate. I don't think I need to suck any sacks or whatever. I just kind of want to call it down the line, and just all I care about is the truth. I don't care about narrative,
I feel you on that one. I mean, I get you're like, in the middle, saying like I don't hate him, but I could just, I could criticize him. As for me, I absolutely can't stand him, man. It is deplorable of me waiting for over 7 years just to see mediocrity in the face, time after time again. We sacrificed our future for him. We sacrificed uh, our chances of winning for him. We sacrificed a player's future for his son, bruh.
Oh,
I can't understand him. I'm just gonna be honest here. As far as like my hatred for LeBron, it's purely off of basketball. Outside of basketball, not so much. But in basketball, yeah, I cannot stand this dude. I can't.
well, we're gonna get that exit interview on Monday night. They're gonna ask him some questions. We'll see if we get any answers that are worth a damn. So join us, Sean, when we do that live stream, man. It'd be good to have you, bro.
No problem, man.
And then maybe we'll send out the link to the goons, bro. I respect everybody's opinions. I like to give people the opportunity to speak on platforms, and I always kind of learn some new things. That's why we're glad to have you out here, man.
Yeah, I mean, I like to know about new things. You know what I mean, from EQ, from Humble, from Angry, Lad. I wish Lad was more consistent. I'm just gonna be honest here, dude.
Yeah,
Dude flip,
Lad kind
dude
of
flip,
go.
dude
Yeah,
flip
flip
more
flops. Yeah,
than
I think
pancakes,
he's
man.
swayed easily. That's all that is. Yeah.
His mindset is all 2K. You know what I mean? I haven't played 2K for what, 2012,
Yeah.
2013.
No.
Like I haven't played 2K for a long time, and the fact he followed 2K and believing that is as easy as like changing up a player, and that's something where you got chillax on that. But you know what I mean, I like to listen to different ideas. You know what I mean, maybe my idea when it comes with Austin and Luka being as a duo is probably wrong or it's right. I'm in the minority of that. There's Laker fans that say that hey, Luka needs another superstar or all star. You know what I mean? And I'm against that because in today's NBA, it does not matter about if you're a superstar or all star. It does not really matter. All that matters is that you need to have a good depth. You need to have players that is playing a role, and you have a good coaching system, or even a very great coaching system. And we don't really have that as a Laker. All we have is just names.
All right, Sean, that was excellent, man. Appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Go ahead and hit the like for us. Come on back to the next live stream. We'll probably do one with the Bruce and Transformer tomorrow in the evening, and then we'll definitely do something Monday night for the closeout game 4, in my opinion, which I think the Lakers are
problem.
likely to lose. But we'll talk to you guys soon, and thanks, Sean. We'll catch you on the next stream.
No problem. God bless.